Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to your May 4th, 2026 Rotary Club of Ames meeting. Let's start with our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let's take a moment. Do we have anyone to keep in our thoughts and prayers this morning? Let's just take a moment here then. Okay, thank you, everyone. Please be seated. We've got several visitors today. I'd like to start with our regular visitor. Jim, do you want to introduce Diane? She's an honorary member by now, right? Welcome, Diane. Thanks for being here today. And I'm going to turn it over to Chris. We've got a visitor joining us. Or you want to start with?
Go. All right, today I have next to me Joel Sullivan, a retired Ames High teacher and currently with Friedrich. Known Joel and his family, Eileen, Leo, and Lane for a long time. He's here visiting today and prospective member.
Go ahead, Kate.
Yeah, I'll go ahead next. I have Kelsey Lint with me today. She's from Tenfold Architecture here in Ames, lives in the Boone area right now, and just got through all of her testing and everything for her architecture license. Okay, so please join me in welcoming Kelsey.
Ready?
And Jennifer.
Good morning. I have Renee Kloss, who is a realtor with Hunziker, and interesting enough, her father was a member of this club for 33 years, and so she's interested in potentially joining us as well.
Perfect. Any other guests I missed? Let's go ahead and sing a welcome song for them. Thank you, Louie. We've got our May birthdays, so we're going to sing the birthday song for our May birthdays. Slow that up. We got Jim, I know you're here today. Happy birthday. So there's a few on there, so don't forget his birthday, Diane. Let's go ahead and sing happy birthday to our May birthdays. All you May birthdays have to stand now, I guess. I don't know. That's fine. Hey, let's get them to stand up. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Rotarians. Happy birthday to you. And many more. And anniversaries for the month. I saw Jim Baker here. Don't forget your anniversary. So happy anniversary to everyone there. Enjoy your Rotarian or your anniversary. Next we have the membership. He's getting to it. Hold on a second. So Rotarian membership. I actually have, I'm going to take this mic. I'm going to take this one on the road. So I need this mic on. This one's working. I'm going to hand this over. So congratulations, everyone. Go back to the Rotary side. Rotarians. Rich Johansson, 37 years. John Russell. I do have Carol here who needs 1 second here to make an announcement.
Thank you. And I just wanted to announce that I am retiring from my job May 15th, which is quite close. And I have been a member here for 38 years. And my husband, who is a Jefferson Rotarian, and I were the first couple of members in Rotary in District 6000 many, many years ago. So I want to thank you for all of what you have done and let me be a part of this wonderful club for all these years. I've made so many new friends, and you've always had that service above self spirit in you, and I've always been proud to call the Ames Rotary Club my home. So in honor of that, I've donated the number of years that I've been here for the club. Thank you.
Thank you, Carol. It sounds like you won't be coming to our Rotary, but you're still going to stay connected to Rotary, right? The club in Jefferson. So thank you, Carol. Appreciate that. And next we're going to turn this over to, we have a couple more announcements. Yeah, you're okay. So online next week with Lisa Markley talking Story County budget, where's your money going? Then we have a club luncheon back here at the Plex on the 18th with Laura Biscow and Lorna Carroll talking lights out, saving birds, Iowa's birds and pollinators, which we had a pollinator conversation online not too long ago. And then Memorial Day is kind of early this year, so no meeting on Memorial Day. So that's the upcoming meetings. Please take a look at those, and we'll look forward to seeing you online. Next is a slide about RILA. So RILA has extended the date. If you have any students that are in this freshman, sophomore, junior year, that they can still apply to RILA. So we can get that slide up. That'd be great. Next slide. That's okay. So remember that for RILA. Next one we have this coming Saturday, the Miracle League spring kicks off, and we actually are invited, or maybe more mandatory, to be there for voluntary, helping the teams out at 9 a.m. on the 9th, the 16th, and the 30th. So if you can attend, please come out to the Miracle League this Saturday. The next three are basically at 9 a.m., and then in June they go to 10 a.m. So please come out and help with that. And there is a sign-up sheet right down here with Tammy. Every table, actually, so please sign up. And with that, now I'm going to turn over to membership and have Randy come up and talk a little bit about that. Thank you, Randy.
All right, great. Well, thanks, Jamie. Good to see all of you, and welcome to our guests today. I've had some email traffic with some prospective members. We've got 3 joining us here today. We'll have some joining us on the 18th as well. And I thought it might be helpful to help round out some awareness of who Rotary is as you can explore the opportunity that it is. And your host is certainly a good resource for you, everyone here in the club. But this club is over 100 years old. First founded in 1921 as a chartered club of Rotary, and in many cases it's a bit of a who's who in Ames and surrounding community. And so really just thought I'd help you understand a little bit more about what the broader Rotary is and the opportunity that can exist for you here. At its core, Rotary is about 1.2 million members across the globe, 45,000 clubs worldwide. But stated more simply than that, it's people who like to take action. People join Rotary because they want to join something and make a difference in their communities, connect with others, and be part of something bigger than themselves. And while Rotary is global, the experience is very local. What matters most is what happens right here in Ames through our projects, our relationships, and the impact we have in this community. And so what does Rotary really stand for? It's built on a few core ideas: service, leadership, integrity, and relationships. You'll often hear the phrase service above self. We've heard it here this morning, and that's really the guiding principle behind everything that we do. Rotary also has something called the four-way test, which is a simple ethical framework we try to apply in business and in life. Is it the truth? Is it fair? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? And will it be beneficial to all concerned? Those ideas may sound simple, but they're really pretty powerful when you actually live them out. And one more thing that's important, and certainly something we value in this club, Rotary is intentionally inclusive. It brings together people from different professions, backgrounds, perspectives, and that diversity is what really part of what makes it work. So what does Rotary actually do? At a high level, Rotary focuses on a handful of major areas like health, education, clean water, and economic development. Globally, Rotary has invested billions of dollars in projects that improve lives. One of the biggest examples is the effort to eradicate polio worldwide, where we're now 99.9% of the way there, which is one of the really a great public health achievement of our time. But what's important for you to know is you don't have to go around the world to make an impact. Rotary gives you the opportunity to get involved locally, right here in Ames, while also being connected to something global. So whether your interest is hands-on service, supporting causes, or helping lead initiatives, there's a place for you within Rotary. So what does it actually look like to be a member? Well, a lot like what's going on today. Regular meetings, typically over lunch, with speakers and conversation. Membership also means opportunities to serve, to build relationships, and contribute your own skills and expertise. One of the unique things about Rotary is the mix of people. You'll meet individuals from all professions and stages of life, and that really creates a valuable network. And importantly, it's flexible. You don't have to jump in at 100 miles an hour. You can engage at the level that fits your schedule and your interests. Over time, many members found they naturally take on more involvement, whether it's in service projects or leadership roles. And if you're wondering what the next step looks like, it's pretty simple. Just start by getting to know some people. Come back, have some conversations. If something sparks your interest, there are opportunities to get involved in projects, support initiatives, or develop leadership skills. Rotary also has strong programs that support youth and future leaders, which is something many of our members are passionate about. There's no pressure. The goal is simply to explore whether or not this is a good fit for you. At the end of the day, Rotary tends to resonate with people who want to stay engaged with their community, build meaningful relationships, and make a positive impact. If that sounds like you, we'd love to have you continue the conversation and learn more. So enjoy today. You're welcome. We've got a membership app in the paperwork we handed out. You've got a host as a good guide, and I'll certainly be a resource for you. But generally speaking, welcome. Glad you took the time to join us, and I think I'll turn it over to Tammy for introduction of our speaker.
Thanks, Randy. That was a great recap of membership. When he sent it, it was like 82 slides, and he said they were going to go quick, and they did. So yeah, it's great. So it's my pleasure to welcome Doug Jacobson as our speaker today. He is director of the Iowa State University Center for Cybersecurity Innovation and Outreach, and an electrical and computer engineering professor. He's worked in cybersecurity since the early 1900s, helping build one of the nation's longest, did I say 1900s? 1990s. 1990s. Helping build, Sorry, Doug. Helping build one of the nation's longest running university programs. Doug has delivered 300 plus security presentations. He also leads Cyber House Rock, a creative multimedia campaign that makes digital safety accessible to all ages. His title of today's program is Cyber Scams, What's Really Happening and How to Stay Safe. Let's welcome Doug.
I was old, but not that old. Yeah, hi. Thank you for being here. What I want to do is, as the title says, I'm going to talk a little bit about cyber scams. We'll go through some different types of scams. But I want to leave plenty of time for questions. As Tammy says, I've been in this for a long time. One of my goals has been to educate all Iowans. So let's see, I can count about 50 off that list. So that's been my passion, is to spread the word about cybersecurity. So let's start by throwing out a few numbers. Every year the FBI produces a report, talks about cyber scams. And this year it crossed $20 billion. That's only what's reported. So the scammers have made $20 billion off of people in the United States. Estimates are that that's probably half what the real value is. So we're probably talking about a $40 billion industry. I don't know if that's top Fortune 500 or not, but it's up there. And so this is a big deal. They make a lot of money. And what I want to do is kind of go through the top 5 ways that they make money, and talk a little bit about the commonalities between all of those ways that they make money. It's a little hard to read, but we'll go into more detail. But this, there's about, I think, 30 categories. And the top 5 deal with investments. They deal with what we call business email compromise, tech support, romance, and then government types of crimes. So they really are trying to do things that integrate into your everyday life. So they're after you, they're after everybody by trying to become integrated into everything you think is important. So the highest dollar one is investment fraud. Right, investment fraud has been around, right? The Ponzi scheme, and it's been around forever. Cyber enables a lot of these things to take place easier. First of all, there's no face-to-face contact. Our adversary could be halfway across the globe. They get to use sort of the hype and the sales pitch you kind of put around things that show up in the internet. And they integrate themselves into all types of social media, all types of communication methods. So it's everywhere. A lot of it's cryptocurrency based. And this is typically a low and slow process. A lot of what they're willing to take the time to do it. And that's been one of the biggest challenges. Tammy said, I've been in this since the 90s. One of the biggest changes I've seen over the last couple decades is their willingness to spend time with their victim. It used to be the Nigerian lottery, right? I think I've won the Nigerian lottery a good 100+ times. That was a one and done. They send it out, who responds, that's who they got after. Now they're willing to send multiple messages. They're willing to use multiple ways to communicate, whether it be the phone, whether it be text, whether it be electronic communication. So they're willing to spend time and energy to, in essence, groom their victim, so their victim will take advantage, will do whatever they want. So in the case of the, and this is actually true for a lot of these types of scams, it'll usually start very innocent. Sometimes just a simple 1 or 2 line email. Or it's something you see posted on Facebook or some other social media. And they'll slowly try to build your trust. They'll continue conversations. And then at some point, they'll typically try to move you into some sort of private messaging, WhatsApp or some other sort of messaging system. And they'll show you fake profits, and if you ever try to move your money, they won't let you move your money. So it's a classic scam. this is again, things like the Ponzi scheme. But social media and the internet really gives them this ability to be whoever they want to be. And so it's a lot more difficult to figure out that there's the adversary out there, because again, they can hide behind this digital world. And we'll talk in general about how to deal with all of these. So I'm just going to kind of go through the top 5, and then we'll circle around at the sort of common ways that we can help deal with this. The second one on the list is what the FBI categorizes as business email compromise. It's a very broad topic, but it basically is using digital techniques, usually email, but sometimes they will revert to voice or they'll revert to text and other things. And they're trying to insert themselves into a relationship, typically a business relationship. So they will pretend to be a supplier. They'll pretend to be a customer. They'll pretend to be your friend. And I'll go through an example of one of my friends who inadvertently got caught up in this. So it's all about them pretending to be somebody else. There was just a case, I can't remember the school district, it was out east. They lost $3-some million. Somebody got a hold of them and said, hey, they were in the middle of or towards the end of a large construction project, so a big payment was due. They called up pretending to be the contractor and said, by the way, we've changed our bank. Here's the new routing number. Away went the money. But they could collect all the information, right? It's all public information. Who's the contractor? It's public information. Who's the school? It's public information. Who's the CEO of the contractor? Public information. Who's the person on at the school in charge of all this? Public information. It is all public information. They build all this information, put it all together, and they craft a well-done scam. And AI has enabled this to happen at a much more rapid rate. So this is actually, I work a lot with, give talks and talk to a lot of businesses. This is what they're worried about. This is the thing that really targets businesses. The first one just targets everybody, a lot of individuals, but this is going after businesses. So a case of, and this also goes after people. So here's a true story. I don't know, maybe 5-6 years ago, something like that. I got an email from a friend, and the email basically says, "Hey, I need some help. I need somebody to go buy me some gift cards. I'm going somewhere, and I need to give out these gift cards. I'm unable to go do that. Can you really help?" Okay, right, no. But I was bored that afternoon, and so I said, no, I'm kind of busy. What do you really need? And so we spent about a half hour or so going back and forth. This person trying to convince me to go get the business cards. The whole time, what I was looking for online were images of gift cards that had been already used. So it took me about a half hour to find them. It was harder than I thought it was. And then finally I said, okay, I can go do it. Then about an hour later, I sent the email and said, here they are. And the individual came back and said, well, do you have the receipts? So he didn't buy. And they were each picture was obviously with a different camera. I didn't spend as much effort and time as I didn't want to spend a lot of time on it. And then finally, at that point, I just said, I've had fun. This has been a good way to spend my afternoon. But we're done. I said, I appreciate that you give me all these screenshots and all this information. I teach this cybersecurity, and I really appreciate you providing me all this information. And never heard from him again. But it turns out they had compromised my friend's email account. So this email was coming from this person's account. It was not a forged account. So they weren't interested in anything this person had. They were interested in his email account and his friends to try to scam them. So And I don't encourage you to play with these people, although it's fun sometimes. The next one is tech support. Microsoft will never, ever contact you to fix anything. Microsoft won't ever fix it. Oh no, we won't get into that. Let alone call you, right? But this is number 3 on the hit parade. Phone calls, pop-ups, websites that look locked. I've gotten numerous calls from friends who said, somebody's taking over my computer and it just keeps popping up messages and they're loud and obnoxious. And so I walk them through how to kill the browser with keystrokes and say, everything's fine, nothing's happened. But it puts a lot of fear into people. Again, text messages, emails. Another real quick story. My wife used to get these calls all the time. My wife's actually a computer engineer also. And I was always lamenting, in fact, how come I never get one of these? Why do you always get one of these? So one day I was sitting at home and phone rang and she says, hang on, my husband deals with that. So she handed me the phone. So I got to play with this guy. He's very good. He walked me through doing things not with the mouse, but with commands, showed me my computer had 20-some thousand viruses, and he was going to fix it. And, all this time I'm taking screenshots. And he finally gets me to the point where I was going to download the software that gave him control of the computer. And at that point, I said, okay, again, I thanked him. He argued with me for a good 5 minutes. He was mad. He was just livid. And we've never got another call since. So, and he's mad. They're mad because what I cost him I wasted a half hour of his time, and he didn't get anything out of it. So that cost him money. But again, I don't play with him. Confidence romance scams are another big one out there. And again, this is a broad topic. This is the topic that fits not only to the classic romance scams of, you meet somebody online overseas and they slowly start asking for more and more money and they're going to come over and they never want to meet. Also wrapped into that is what they call the grandma or the grandparent scam, where they will call up and say, hey, your grandchild has been arrested, has been in an accident, and then they name the thing, and they need money. They need money right away. They need money, gift card, etc. On this one, and I know people have done this. They have a code word that they'll use. So if this is something, I'm not saying you definitely need to do that, but if this is something you might be concerned about, then you just develop a code word that you ask, and they won't know it. So, but again, same sort of thing. They'll in the romance scams, they'll move you off platform. They'll develop private communications. They won't have a video call. They won't meet in person. Million reasons why they can't meet, up until the point where they need a lot of money to come here to then meet you. And that money, of course, goes away. Government impersonation. How many of you have gotten text messages or emails about usually a traffic camera's gotten you, right? Or you didn't pay a fine, and yeah, you toll and right. No, so by the way, yeah, we'll accept payment in a gift card. I don't think if I walked over to Ames City Hall with a gift card, they would take that as a payment for anything any interaction with the City of Ames. But they impersonate, government agencies. A lot goes around during tax time. Banks, healthcare, law enforcement, and so they use this authority as a weapon. By being an authority, pretending to be the authorities, they trick you or get you to be fearful. Jury scams are another one. You didn't show up for jury duty, and now we're going to fine you $1,000. Well, I don't think that's quite the way it works. And so again, they use that fear of having the government come after you. So what I want to do now is talk a little bit about what we look out for. Again, this is kind of common across all of them. But before we do that, I'm going to talk a little bit about the whole world of AI. The world of AI has changed everything we do in cyber. I have students who come to me and say, they're worried about AI taking your job, and I tell them in cybersecurity, AI is going to create more jobs for defenders and it's going to take away. And so we have voice cloning. It takes about 5 seconds of your voice into an AI model to be able to replicate it. I don't know about you, but I give up looking at stuff on Facebook nowadays because I think half the images on Facebook have been AI created. Very personalized interactions. I talked about the case with the school. I could very easily, it'd take me about less than 5 minutes to, if I knew the name of the school and the name of the contractor, to ask AI to gather all the information necessary to create an email or to create what I needed to make a phone call in order to carry out that business email compromise. Very simple. So AI has really enabled our adversary. We get a lot of things now on social media and Facebook, et cetera, selling fake medical products with Oprah Winfrey or name your favorite celebrity, all fake. All the images are fake, voice is fake. So this is kind of one of these, man, they've taken away the one thing we used to use, and that was the ability to look at somebody and say they're real. So this has also created quite a bit of problems. But I don't want to paint all doom and gloom. There's really a couple things you can really think about and focus on. And so one of them is the money. When they start asking for money, how is that transaction taking place? If it's taking place with gift cards or other sorts of cryptocurrency, the new one, about a year ago, I realized, did you know you can buy a gold bar at Costco? You can buy 1 ounce of gold at Costco. They're using that. They will have you go buy the 1 or 2 ounces of gold. Then they'll have you meet up with one of their couriers who will take that, cash it back in, they'll take a cut, and the rest will go to the scammers. So, and I don't think if I walked in with an ounce of gold at the Ames to pay my water bill, I don't think they'd take an ounce of gold to pay for it either. So you really got to focus on how do they want to be paid. That's probably one of the biggest red flags when it comes to scamming. So if we kind of do a few set of simple rules, by the way, that's Peggy, the possum. Pause. Always think that nothing is a emergency, a crisis. That's the other big red flag. As soon as they make you giving them money a crisis, a threat, or something too good to be true, stop and think about it. Okay? They're not, I've heard stories of businesses being, somebody will call up and say, we're from the power company, we're driving there to turn off your power. No, the power company doesn't work that way. It takes 6 months to figure out how to turn off the power. That's just not going to happen. So, and if that call if you get a call like that, you think, well, maybe, hang up and call back. Call the power company. Call the city. Call law enforcement. Right? Very seldom do any of these places ever call you. Right? Likewise, when you get emails with weird-looking links, etc. No. Or you get a message that says, hey, somebody's broken into your bank. Hey, I'm from, u5bank.com. Okay, if you think there's a small possibility, then pick up the phone and call the bank. Right? Don't follow the links. So you're in control. So anything you do when you're in control, this is a lot safer than when you respond to them. Never send crypto, wire money, gift cards, changes in payment. That's why I tell businesses, you need a process in place. Somebody calls and said, we need to change the the routing number. Fine, you call them back. So don't let somebody get a hold of you and force you to change something. So that's a big concern. I encourage people to put a credit freeze on. Credit freeze is easy to do through the credit bureaus. Basically what that does is that you can't take out new credit, but you can unfreeze it in a second. So on-off freezing is pretty easy. But that prevents them from opening new lines of credit in your name. And when if you do happen to make the mistake, contact the bank, report to IC3, which is the FBI. There's other tips should mention there's a handout on everybody's table. There's some other tips and places to contact when you think something has happened. So kind of wrap this up. It's not all bad. Iowa is 51st by complaint loss per 10,000 or 100,000 people. So this is a list you want to be last on, not first. So 51st is not too bad. I have no explanation why District of Columbia is first by almost double what the next one is. But it is. In every list, District of Columbia is the worst. And so this is something where everybody has a role in play to keep everybody safe. This is something that needs to be part of everybody's conversation. And again, when you hear somebody say, "Oh, I got this," or "This is happening to me," ask them about it, challenge them on it. So again, we all need to work together to make things safer. And with that, I'm going to leave some time for questions. That's Quincy. The pig is Patty, and Peggy the possum. So.
Oh, well, thank you for the presentation. My name is Tom Walsh. Are you familiar with Kit Boga? He does podcasts on YouTube, but he reverses the tables of these scammers. Yeah. And he hangs them. He just holds them up for like hours. Yeah. And they get really angry. But I think and he uses that card scam where you go get the cards at Target, wherever, and then you send them the numbers. Yeah. But he sets up a fake bank called Gola Bull. And he thinks these scammers are really in a real bank. Yeah. But he has it set up on his computer. So, but I mean, it's it's a sad story, but I think he's a real hero doing it.
Oh yeah, yeah. And there are groups of people that are part of that. He's probably the most sophisticated one of those. Like I said, I didn't. He saw the guy who was after saw immediately through, and each gift card looked different.
I'm just curious, if they give you an ACH number to send money to them, when you open a bank account, you have to prove who you are. So are these banks that are not doing what they're supposed to?
Yeah. So when they have the fake or their HCH number, typically it's in a bank that probably is not under normal jurisdiction of company or countries that care, and so or they could even set up a legitimate account. And typically, what happens when you move money to you get the wrong account, they give you the bad one, that money will move immediately multiple times. So they won't let it sit in one place because if you let it sit too long, they can potentially claw it back. So it's not long before they get it overseas or into a financial institution that the U.S. can't do anything about.
So I guess I'm curious, are there ACH numbers that are valid only for the U.S. or at least bank numbers?
I don't know. I'm not a banker.
We'll ask David next time he's here.
I'm Mike Gitchell. Could you tell us a little bit more about how crooks use cryptocurrency in various ways? Do they launder money? And is there any way to trace the money that goes into cryptocurrency? And then my last question is, why don't the politicians protect us more from cryptocurrency crooks?
Okay, okay, so first two questions first. They use, so it depends on what they're trying to do, but they like crypto because it's a money movement that is not regulated, not controlled, and not monitored. So that's why they like it, because you can, supposedly the transactions are, quote, anonymous. They're not as anonymous as the criminals think they are. But that's why especially ransomware, they love crypto because you can move large sums of money. To pay a $5 million ransom, gift cards would be a little cumbersome. Now, as far as how once it's moved, my understanding is the FBI has about a 70% recovery rate on ransomware paid with crypto. So, and I don't know how they do it. They're not going to tell us how they do it, but that's not a bad return rate. But that's why they like crypto. Now, what they are starting to move away from, as I said, crypto, when you start talking to a lot of people now, they're saying, well, don't pay with crypto. And it's also complicated to pay with crypto. That's why they're moving to things like the gold bars and other methods that are easier to do and doesn't raise quite the red flag as crypto. I have no idea why the government doesn't. There's two sides to crypto. The exchange of information, that whole how the Bitcoin moves and that ledger, which is what it's made of, is a really cool idea. And that idea of blockchain is used in a lot of things besides currency. Cryptocurrency is two parts. One is moving money. The other is the speculative part. That why Bitcoin hit what, at $600,000 or $60,000 a Bitcoin or some nonsense like that. Then it lost half its value, and so there's a highly speculative side to cryptocurrency. But I have no idea why the government doesn't want to step in.
Louis Bennett, quick question. We're all familiar with antiviral software for a computer. Are we going to see AI companies like Anthropic begin marketing to end consumers a way to stand between us and fraud on anything we download on our computers for price?
Yeah, I mean, the antivirus companies are clearly leaning into AI to help. It's going to help, but some of the simplest starting points of fraud are one-sentence emails. And it gets really hard to start to classify those as being scam. But clearly, I mean, the defensive side is leaning very heavily into AI. And so, yeah, it's an arms race. So AI, we're going to come up with better tools. The adversary is going to come up with better tools and better ways to use AI. So, but the detection, for example, of an AI image is a tough problem because it does such a good job of it. So those are hard problems, but yeah, Anthropic and name your favorite AI vendor is working on how to integrate those into and name your favorite antivirus software. He just wanted to hold the mic.
I'll say something. It's on. No, we have had to go to double authentication even on payments to our clients and so on, because we get fake emails. So now we have a double, so we can't. But they request everything, especially when in the ag business, they know all the vendors.
Yep.
So they fake the vendor invoices and send us a bill, and now we have to authenticate everything.
Yep, and that's where we're at.
Unfortunately, we haven't lost any money, but we certainly could have.
But you're taking a proactive step of, you have to authenticate everything, not trust anything.
And the other thing we've gone through is every week we have fake emails go to all our employees. Because one time they clicked on it and it cost us. So that's a good way to train your employees.
Yeah.
You mentioned ransomware, and in the healthcare industry, many hospitals and clinics are really fearful of ransomware. And how do most of those get resolved? Because usually the hospitals have given in and paid the money because it's such an asshole. So tell us a little bit more about ransomware.
So, the who pays and who doesn't is usually pretty closed, secret. They don't typically say, but my understanding is, you get hospitals and other pieces of critical infrastructure where people will die. They'll tend to be ones that will pay the ransom, or their insurance company will pay. Cyber insurance will pay the ransom. And that's why they go after hospitals, because they cannot not work. And so, how ransomware works, so typically it gets into your organization through somebody opening up an email, somebody downloading something they shouldn't, right? I got the, hey, cool screensaver, man. Yeah, screensaver / ransomware. Once it gets a foothold into your corporate network, it moves across, because all your computers are interconnected, right? You have share drives and all that, man, right? All the information. So they'll move across that. The newest ransomware will steal all the data first, because what people found out is if all you did was encrypt it, they just restore it from backup. So now you steal the data, you encrypt the data, and oh, by the way, if you're not going to pay either way there, they are now ransoming your suppliers or your vendors or your customers, because they have the data and they have the information about them. So they'll actually pressure your customers to pressure you to pay them. So they're really good at what they do. And they're really, and they change. Man, every time we come up with a new thing, a new way to do something, they pivot and come up with another cooler way to get around what we do.
Thank you, Doug. Doug Jacobson, everyone. Thank you very much. I have a book here. That's okay. Well, whichever one he's got. I've got a book here for you to sign. We're a sponsor of Raising Readers, and we'll give the book to a 2-year-old on their checkup. So you can do dogs, cows, or cats if you have a preference. Cows, there you go. There we go.
Who every time you drive by a field of cows go, cows, right? Yeah.
Yes, so thank you very much. I've got one little cyber story to tell. That people are actually stealing checks out of mailboxes as well. We had a business check for $53,000 stolen, and they were able to change the name on it for this gal in Georgia and try to cash the check. The bank, we were able to get onto them right away, but they're very persistent, because they tried again from another date and location for the same check, and it's really just crazy. So that's part of the checks and balances you need to do as a business owner. Yes, thank you again, Doug. Appreciate it. Yes. Real quick, before we do our 4-way test, I'd like to request Kent Frankenfeld to come up here real quick. Our club, this past district conference, recognized an award for Kent for the Guardian of Integrity. And I just want to invite you up, give a round of applause, and if you have anything to add to that, but very well deserved, Ken.
Thank you. I have a word came to me this weekend, and it's the word delight. And I think we need to add that to delight in service above self. How many of us get worn out going, oh, another project, another thing. We want to do it, but we're tired of doing it. Let's delight in doing it. That's my lesson. And it wouldn't have happened if it weren't for all the delight that you folks have given me. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Certainly an example for us all. So before our 4-way test, one last thing. Thank you to our guest, Diane. Always great to see you. For the potential members, Joel, Kelsey, and Renee, thank you very much for joining us today. If you have any questions, please let us know. And with that, we will close today's meeting out with our 4-way test. Please stand. Of the things we think, say, or do, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? and will be beneficial to all concerned. Thank you, everyone. Have a great week.